the demand for more autonomous products, sensorified products, it's just going to keep going up, especially as now they're getting good, right? Like I remember when it wasn't that long ago, like 10 years ago, walking the floor at CES and seeing like, oh, we're going to have smart fridges. Like, is that going to help me? It doesn't seem like it doesn't feel like it's going to help me. That's been blown by now. There's more and more appetite than ever, and more companies, consumer CPGs, every company's going to try to figure out a way to build a smart layer to their product. I think that seems to be happening.
Do you know why? The primary reason why is you can get new business models. You get a service model. All of a sudden, back to the dumb thing, the smart refrigerator is, before the filter would go, I'd go on Amazon and I'd go find a filter that might match with TV and ship it to me. And now they alert me and say, would you like to order online within the same app? All of a sudden, they've got a service model, right? Not only do they sell me the refrigerator, they now got the warranty model. Same thing, I buy a BMW. I don't have a BMW, but if I buy a BMW, the car is instrumented. And so when the tire wear is not where you want it to be, like all of a sudden you're enabling these business models that are fundamentally different for people who just used to manufacture stuff and ship it out. That's why it's
Yeah,
just a completely different economic offer.
I'm one of those people that's still like, I think I'm old school because mainly because I'm cheap. Is like, I don't know if it's a good thing as long as my product doesn't brick. I saw this thing with like smart fridges where if you didn't use the exact filter, like it wouldn't work. And I couldn't believe it. I was
I'm
like,
still
that
cheap
doesn't.
like you. So it told me to order on that, but I went to Amazon and found another place. But it told me, at least told me.
When you see this type of demand, when you see this type of consumer demand and manufacturing demand, especially across industries that maybe weren't technical before, like we said, but they're now getting into smart layers, do you also see that with, I guess, the next wave of talent? Do you see like more kids in college downloading an Influx instance and saying like, hey, I want to try to test this because more people are thinking that way now? You know what I mean? Like you're coming into school or you're engineering, you're already thinking that way.
So today, that community that was maybe 3,000 back then is like 640,000 today of active
Mm.
users that run it daily. And a fair number of them are college students playing with it, they're home hobbyists. I can't tell you the number of times somebody built something at home and then took it into work and built something at work just because they got used to it, because it's a relatively easy product to build stuff around, and you get really critical information very quickly. That's, and you see that and you go, okay, I should be instrumenting some of this other work stuff.
When you see that happening, what do you envision for your company? Like when you think of where's Influx going to be in the next 4 to 5 years, how much faster can it be? Or how many more records? You're already collecting it down to the nanosecond. Where do you think your innovations will come from? And which categories will you take bets down?
So we've already taken bets. Paul may have talked about some of this. We have a new storage engine coming online that gives us native SQL support and is dramatically more scalable and cheaper to run. And so that'll be in the open source. It's an MIT open source project. We want to make the onboarding journey really easy, even for non-developers. And so making that process really easy. So our view is the market's so large. How do we meet developers where they are? If they want to work in Ruby or Python or whatever, can they build whatever they want on our platform in those, right? It's very much, the company we try to take a playbook out of. I think Mongo's Atlas did a really good job with this. Very few people have, is really trying to meet developers where they are and not trying to get them prescribed to where we are, and then have them be able to build something. The whole notion of, and you know this because you've been a developer, like, the feeling of getting something right, the feeling of empowered, the feeling like you've got this tool that works in such a variety of different situations that allows you to take it from job to job. We want to build sort of a loyalty like, wow, I feel powerful when I use this capability, this tool. There are so many problems I can address and solve. And I think and not just for Influx, but the whole category around time series is like, this is most data is best understood through the lens of time. When you think about understanding a data set, you think understanding a problem, it's best understood through the lens of time. So it's not just Influx who benefit, it's the whole category.
The way you talked about expanding it actually brings us almost full circle. For our audience who's listening, before the conversation got started with Evan, he and I talked a little bit about myself beforehand and what I was doing. I was teaching people how to use software. And Evan, the thing that you said, meeting developers where they are or meeting the next generation of developers where they are, I'll share this tip. You're the boss. You can do whatever you want. But one of my buddies is a servicer for UiPath, and they said that one of the things that they did was they started doing build your own robot seminars, and so many people would come because they'd be fascinated. They're like, "How do I do this?" And so they would come and be like, "Build your own robot using UiPath." The company was called Jolt. It's a servicer, but I can tell you that they service so much business because of that they got acquired by another bigger servicer recently. Developers, sometimes they need, in this case, it was developers and non-developers. They just need that opportunity to be like, well, what is this that you're doing? So yeah, they did like a world tour, build your own robot.
That's a really good idea because a lot of the home automation, the open source home automation, use Influx already. So we could have fun with that in terms of getting people. I hadn't thought of it. We did a while ago build your own IoT with Raspberry Pis, but there's an opportunity to expand that idea. I agree.
Like you said, there's endless appetite. Like you said, more companies, everyone wants to know how to get better at this. So this is going to be an exciting future.
And with a database, you want to be able to scale from laptops or sensors all the way to heavy duty work in the cloud. And so we've been able to do that rather nicely. And I give Paul a lot of credit for that.
IT Visionaries is powered by Salesforce Platform and Dreamforce 2022. Catch the news and insights coming out of Dreamforce this year for free on Salesforce Plus. That's salesforce.com/plus. Content will start rolling on September 20th.